Life is a journey filled with moments of happiness and moments of hardship, but the strength of a believer is seen when the heart remains firm in the belief that the Allah is always in control. When everything around us begins to fall apart and every effort seems to fail, the believer still holds on to the rope of faith, trusting that the one who created the universe can easily change any situation. Belief in Allah is not merely a statement we utter with our tongues. It is a deep conviction that lives within the heart and guides every thought and action. It teaches us that even in the darkest hours, there is divine wisdom hidden in what we face. Sometimes Allah delays our plans not to deny them, but to prepare us for something greater. He takes away certain things to give us what is far better. And though we may not see it in the moment, time eventually reveals that His plan was always perfect. When a person truly believes in Allah, fear begins to fade away and the heart becomes calm because it knows that no harm or loss can touch us unless it is written by Him. Faith transforms our pain into patience and our sadness into strength. It reminds us that no matter how big our problems are, Allah's mercy is always greater. When we face trials, instead of asking, "Why me?" a believer says, "Allah, help me grow through this." Every test becomes a step closer to spiritual maturity and a deeper connection with our Creator. The one who trusts Allah does not panic when the path becomes uncertain, because he knows that the hand of Allah is guiding him through it all. Tawakkul, or true reliance on Allah, is not laziness or waiting without action. It is doing your best with sincerity and leaving the outcome to the one who never makes mistakes, even when life seems unfair. A believer knows that Allah's plan is never unjust. He sees what we cannot see, and He protects us from things we do not understand. The storms of life are not meant to destroy us, but to wash away our arrogance, purify our hearts, and remind us that strength lies not in what we control, but in who controls us. The most beautiful peace comes when we surrender our worries to Allah and say, "I trust you, no matter what." Each moment of patience is rewarded. Every tear is counted, and every silent prayer is heard. Sometimes what feels like a delay is actually protection, and what feels like loss is the beginning of something better. When we keep our hearts attached to Allah through prayer and remembrance, He places tranquility in our souls even amidst chaos. Faith does not mean that we will never face problems. It means that we will never face them alone. Allah is always near, even when the world turns its back. His mercy reaches us in ways we cannot imagine. His wisdom surrounds us even when we do not understand, and His love carries us when we can no longer carry ourselves. So believe sincerely, keep praying, and hold on to patience, because when you believe, Allah will solve everything in His own time and in the best way possible. His timing is flawless, His decisions are full of mercy, and His power is beyond all limits. The believer's heart finds rest in this truth, that what is written for you will reach you. What is not meant for you will never be yours. And whatever Allah chooses for you will always be better than what you desired for yourself. In that belief lies true peace, strength, and success, both in this world and in the hereafter. Life teaches us many lessons, but one of the most powerful truths a believer can hold is the understanding that when you truly believe in Allah, He will solve everything in ways you could never imagine. Faith is not only about saying, "I trust Allah," but about living that trust every day, even when everything seems uncertain and difficult. When we face pain, failure, or loss, our hearts naturally feel heavy. But belief transforms that pain into purpose. It reminds us that every hardship is a message from Allah, a gentle call to return to Him, to rely on Him, and to remember that He is the ultimate controller of all things. When the heart becomes filled with faith, fear begins to fade and peace takes its place. Even in the darkest hours, a believer knows that Allah is still watching, still listening, and still planning something good. The truth is, what looks like a setback to us might actually be a step forward in Allah's plan. Sometimes He closes one door only to open another that leads to something far better. Sometimes He delays our wishes because He wants to strengthen our patience or protect us from harm we cannot see. The believer who understands this walks through life with calmness because he knows that nothing happens by accident. Every joy, every tear, every challenge, all of it carries divine wisdom. When we surrender our plans to Allah and say from our hearts, I trust you, we begin to feel peace that no worldly solution can give. Trust in Allah is not weakness. It is the greatest source of strength because it frees us from anxiety about what we cannot control. A person who truly believes in Allah learns that prayer is the strongest bridge between the heart and the heavens. Dua is not just a request for help. It is an expression of love, hope, and complete surrender. When you raise your hands and call upon Allah, you are speaking to the one who can change what no one else can. Sometimes He answers immediately, sometimes He delays, and sometimes He replaces your request with something even better. But the believer knows that every prayer is heard and every tear shed in sincerity is seen. In those moments of silence when words fail and your heart aches, Allah is closer to you than anyone else could ever be. Belief teaches us patience, not just to wait, but to wait with faith and positivity. It teaches gratitude, not only for the blessings we see, but for the challenges that shape us. Every time you thank Allah in difficulty, you invite His mercy into your life. And when His mercy arrives, everything begins to fall into place. The believer's greatest peace comes from knowing that Allah never leaves a sincere heart unanswered. He may not give you what you want immediately, but He will always give you what you need exactly when the time is right. So keep believing, keep praying, and keep walking on the path of trust, even when it feels hard. Because when you believe with all your heart, Allah will solve everything. Not in your way, but in the best way. And when that moment comes, you will realize that every delay, every tear, every test was never meant to break you. It was meant to bring you closer to the one who can make the impossible possible. Belief in Allah is the foundation of peace, hope, and strength in a person's life. When everything around us seems uncertain and every effort feels wasted, true faith reminds the heart that Allah is always in control, even when we cannot understand His plan. Belief is not just a word we speak. It is a light that lives in the heart and guides our mind through the storms of life. A believer knows that life will not always be easy, but with faith, even the hardest moments become bearable. When you trust Allah completely, you begin to see meaning in your pain and lessons in your struggles. Sometimes Allah closes a door not to punish you, but to protect you. He delays your wishes not to hurt you, but to give you something far better when the time is right. The believer understands that what is written will reach them, and what is not written will never be theirs, no matter how hard they try. This realization brings calmness to the heart and courage to the soul. Faith transforms fear into patience and hopelessness into strength. It allows you to stand firm when life tests you, because you know that Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. When difficulties arise and the path ahead seems blocked, belief in Allah becomes the greatest source of comfort. Life's challenges are not punishments, they are opportunities for growth and purification. Every test is a reminder that this world is temporary and that true peace lies in turning to Allah with sincerity. When the heart feels broken, The believer turns to prayer because prayer is the bridge that connects the weak with the most powerful. Dua is not only a request for change, it is a conversation between the servant and his creator. Even when the words do not come out, Allah understands the pain behind every sigh and the meaning behind every tear. Sometimes we ask for something and it doesn't happen, but a believer knows that unanswered prayers are not ignored. They are either replaced with something better or saved for a better time. Allah hears every whisper and sees every struggle. The key is patience and trust. Patience is not about sitting idle. It is about waiting with faith, continuing to try and believing that Allah's plan is wiser than ours. The believer's heart remains strong, not because life is easy, but because they know who is managing it. When you rely on Allah, you realize that the same Lord who parted the sea for Musa, who saved Yunus in the belly of the whale, and who gave Ibrahim peace in the fire, that same Allah is guiding your story too. A heart that believes in Allah finds peace in every situation, whether it brings joy or pain. Gratitude becomes a way of life because the believer knows that every situation carries hidden blessings. When life gives comfort, they thank Allah. And when life gives difficulty, they still thank Allah because even hardships bring wisdom and closeness to Him. This level of belief turns ordinary people into extraordinary souls, calm in chaos and hopeful in despair. The believer understands that faith is not a shield against problems, but a light that guides them through darkness. Even when the world disappoints, Allah never does. His timing is perfect, His mercy endless, and His wisdom far beyond our understanding. So keep believing even when life tests you. Keep praying even when you feel unheard, and keep trusting even when you don't understand. Because when you truly believe, Allah will solve everything, not always the way you expect, but always in the way that is best for you. Every delay is protection, every trial is purification, and every unanswered prayer is a sign that Allah has something far greater waiting for you. The believer's peace lies in this simple truth: Allah never leaves the one who believes and keeps faith alive in their heart. Believing in Allah is the most powerful source of strength a person can have in this life. When everything seems to fall apart and nothing makes sense, belief reminds us that there is still hope because Allah never leaves His servants alone. Faith is not just about saying that you believe. It is about feeling complete trust deep within your heart that Allah's plan is better than your own. Sometimes we face problems that appear impossible to solve, and we start questioning why things are not going the way we want. But the one who truly believes understands that even when everything seems against them, Allah is still guiding every step. What looks like a setback might actually be the beginning of a blessing. What feels like a loss might be protection from something harmful. Allah knows what we do not know, and His wisdom reaches far beyond our understanding. When you learn to trust His plan, your heart finds peace even in the hardest moments. Belief transforms fear into patience and worry into calmness, because you know that no matter what happens, your Lord is in control. Life is full of challenges, and each one of them comes with a purpose. Every hardship that we face is not a punishment, but a way for us to grow closer to Allah. When you are tested with loss, pain, or disappointment, it is Allah's way of purifying your heart and teaching you strength. Sometimes Allah withholds something you want because He knows it will not be good for you. And sometimes He gives you delay so that you can become more grateful when the blessing finally arrives. True faith means believing in Allah, even when you do not understand His plan. It means smiling through tears, knowing that everything happening now has a reason that will one day make sense. Allah tests the ones He loves the most, because He wants them to rely on Him more than anything else. When you put your trust in people, you may get disappointed, but when you put your trust in Allah, you will never be let down. The believer learns to face difficulties not with despair, but with patience and gratitude, knowing that each test is a step toward greater spiritual strength. Dua or supplication becomes a believer's greatest source of peace during trials. It is not simply a request for help, it is a conversation with the one who can change what no one else can. When you raise your hands to make dua, you are admitting your weakness and recognizing Allah's power. Even if the answer doesn't come right away, every prayer reaches Allah and every tear is seen. Sometimes Allah doesn't answer in the way we expect because He has planned something better for us. Sometimes the wait is long, but in that waiting we grow closer to Him. The believer who continues to pray even in silence knows that Allah never ignores a sincere heart. Each moment of patience and every word of gratitude is recorded, and one day the reward will arrive when it matters most. True peace is found not in having everything we want, but in trusting that Allah will give us what we need at the perfect time. Dua strengthens the connection between the servant and the Creator, reminding us that no matter how dark life seems, Allah's light can reach even the deepest corners of our hearts. When you believe in Allah completely, life takes on a new meaning. You no longer fear the future because you know who controls it. Gratitude becomes natural, patience becomes easier, and hope becomes your constant companion. You begin to understand that everything happens for a reason and that Allah's plan is always filled with mercy. What you lose today may return to you in a better form tomorrow, and what you desire now may be replaced with something far greater. Belief teaches us that nothing is truly lost when we have Allah, because He is the one who can bring light after darkness, peace after chaos, and happiness after pain. The heart that believes never feels empty because it knows that Allah's mercy is endless. So keep believing even when life feels heavy. Keep praying even when it feels silent. And keep trusting even when you do not understand. Because when you truly believe, Allah will solve everything, not always how you imagined, but always in the way that is best for you. Faith, patience, and trust are the keys to peace. And those who hold them will always find light, even in their darkest days. Believing in Allah is the greatest comfort a heart can have, especially in moments of fear, loss, and confusion. When life becomes difficult and every door seems to close, faith reminds us that the one who created us never abandons us. True belief means surrendering your worries and accepting that Allah's plan is always wiser and kinder than what we imagine for ourselves. Many times, what looks like a problem to us is actually protection from something harmful. We might not understand why certain things happen, but faith teaches us that there is always a reason behind every event. When you believe deeply, you stop asking, "Why me?" and begin to say, "Why Allah guide me through this?" Belief doesn't mean that life will always be easy, but it guarantees that no matter how hard life gets, you are never alone. Faith gives peace to the heart, strength to the soul, and hope to the mind. It transforms fear into patience and sadness into courage, because you know that Allah's mercy is greater than any pain you face. Life is full of tests, and every believer experiences them in different ways. Sometimes the test comes in the form of loss, sometimes through delay, and sometimes through hardship that seems endless. But these tests are not punishments. They are reminders from Allah that He is close and watching over us. When He tests you, it is because He wants to purify your heart and bring you closer to Him. Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear, and He never leaves a sincere heart unanswered. Every struggle builds strength. Every tear cleanses the heart, and every prayer draws you nearer to Him. The believer learns that patience is not just waiting, but waiting with peace and trust. It means believing that even though things are difficult now, relief will come because Allah promised that after hardship comes ease. The storms of life are not meant to destroy you, but to teach you how to rely completely on Allah. When you learn to see difficulties as opportunities for growth, you begin to find peace even in pain. In those moments of pain and confusion, prayer becomes the believer's greatest weapon. Dua is not just asking for what you want. It is the act of connecting your heart with the Creator, who can change everything in a single moment. When you raise your hands in prayer, you are speaking to the one who knows every secret of your heart and understands every unspoken word. Sometimes Allah answers your prayers quickly, sometimes slowly, and sometimes He gives you something far better than what you asked for. His timing is never late. It is always perfect. The power of dua lies not only in receiving what you want, but in realizing that Allah is always near, always listening, and always aware of your needs. Even when your prayers seem unanswered, they are never wasted. Every dua is recorded, and every moment spent calling upon Allah strengthens your faith. The believer never stops praying because they know that every prayer, every sigh, and every tear is heard by the most merciful. Gratitude is another sign of true belief. When you thank Allah in ease and in hardship, you invite blessings into your life. Gratitude changes your perspective and teaches you to see beauty even in struggle. The one who is thankful even in times of difficulty will find that their heart becomes light, their patience stronger, and their trust deeper. Being grateful does not mean you ignore your pain. It means you choose to see Allah's mercy even in that pain. It means realizing that every breath, every new day, and every opportunity to pray is a gift. The believer who practices gratitude finds that their relationship with Allah becomes stronger and their worries begin to fade. When you remember Allah in moments of comfort, He will remember you in moments of hardship. Gratitude and patience are two wings of faith that help the believer rise above life's trials. A heart that truly believes in Allah finds peace in knowing that everything happens for a reason. Nothing in life is random or meaningless. Every event, every delay, every blessing is part of a divine plan designed with love and wisdom. When you walk with faith, you stop fearing the future because you know who controls it. You begin to understand that even your prayers that seemed unanswered were answered in better ways. The believer knows that what is written for them will reach them, and what is not meant for them will never be theirs. This belief brings freedom from worry and fills the soul with contentment. So keep believing even when life tests you. Keep praying even when you feel unheard. And keep trusting even when you cannot see the way ahead. Because when you truly believe, Allah will solve everything, not in your time, but in His perfect time. And when that moment comes, you will realize that every hardship was a hidden mercy and every delay was part of a plan that led you exactly where you needed to be. Belief in Allah is the most powerful anchor for the soul, a light that never fades, even in the darkest times. When life becomes heavy with pain and uncertainty, it is faith that holds the heart steady and reminds it that Allah never abandons those who believe. Every person faces moments when nothing seems to go right, when doors close and when all efforts appear wasted. Yet, for a believer, these moments are not the end, but the beginning of a deeper connection with Allah. True belief means accepting that every hardship carries a lesson and every delay hides wisdom. It means knowing that Allah's plan is always greater than your desires and that He will give what is best at the right time. The believer's heart learns to say, I may not understand now, but I trust you, O Allah. This trust becomes a source of inner peace that no worldly comfort can provide. When difficulties strike, a believer remembers that life is a test and that every test is a form of mercy. Allah does not test to harm us. He tests to strengthen us, to purify our hearts, and to bring us closer to Him. The pain you feel, the loss you experience, and the obstacles you face are all part of your journey towards spiritual growth. Sometimes Allah removes certain people or opportunities from your life because they were not meant for your goodness. Sometimes He delays your blessings because He wants to prepare you for something far greater. The one who trusts in Allah understands that patience during a trial is not weakness. It is the strongest form of faith. Through patience, the heart learns contentment, and through contentment, the soul finds peace. The believer keeps walking even when the path is unclear, because he knows that Allah never leaves a sincere servant lost. Prayer is the heart's refuge and the believer's most powerful weapon. When the world feels heavy and no one seems to understand, raising your hands to Allah brings comfort that words cannot describe. Dua is not just about asking for something. It is about connecting directly with the Creator, admitting your weakness, and recognizing His power. Every tear shed in prayer is seen by Allah. Every whisper of pain is heard, and every silent plea is recorded. Sometimes the answer comes in the form of ease, and sometimes it comes as strength to endure. The believer understands that unanswered prayers are not ignored. They are answered differently in ways that are wiser than our understanding. True peace lies in knowing that Allah never turns away a heart that calls upon Him sincerely. The more you pray, the more you realize that your strength was never yours. It was always His gift to you. Faith is incomplete without gratitude, because gratitude opens the door to blessings, even in times of struggle. When you thank Allah for what you have, He increases it. And when you show patience during loss, He replaces it with something better. Gratitude teaches the heart to see goodness in everything, even in hardship. The believer who is thankful, even in pain, grows spiritually and emotionally stronger. Being grateful does not mean ignoring difficulties. It means recognizing that Allah's mercy exists within them. Every breath, every moment, and every chance to repent is a blessing. When a believer lives with gratitude, they stop comparing themselves to others and start focusing on the countless favors Allah has already given. This gratitude makes the heart light and the soul calm, because it reminds you that everything you have is a gift from the one who loves you more than anyone else. Another beauty of belief is that it removes fear of the future. A person who trusts Allah walks through life with courage, knowing that whatever happens is written with wisdom and mercy. This trust doesn't mean you will never face sadness or pain, but it means that even in pain, you know there is purpose. You understand that what is meant for you will reach you, and what is not meant for you will never harm you. This understanding frees you from worry and gives you peace. The believer learns that happiness is not found in control, but in surrender. The moment you stop fighting against destiny and start accepting Allah's will, life becomes easier. You begin to realize that every moment, good or bad, is a step toward your growth, a step toward closeness to Allah, and a reminder that this world is temporary. In the end, the one who believes sincerely in Allah lives with unshakable peace. When life becomes heavy, they find comfort in remembrance. When people leave, they find companionship in prayer. And when they fall, they rise again because they know Allah is with them. Faith teaches that Allah's mercy is greater than any sin, His wisdom deeper than any confusion, and His love stronger than any pain. So, no matter how dark your night may seem, keep believing, keep praying, and keep trusting. Because when you truly believe, Allah will solve everything. Not in your way, but in the way that is best for you. His timing is perfect, His decisions flawless, and His plan full of mercy. The believer's heart rests in this truth. Allah never forgets those who believe, and He never fails those who trust Him completely. Belief in Allah is the greatest strength that a person can carry through life. It is the light that shines even when everything else fades, the calm in the middle of the storm, and the hope that stays alive when all other hopes seem lost. When you truly believe in Allah, your heart begins to understand that nothing in this world happens without His will. Every joy, every pain, every delay, and every loss is written with purpose. Life may not always go the way you plan, but it will always go the way Allah has planned, and His plan is always the best. When a believer accepts this truth, the weight of worry begins to lift. The heart finds peace knowing that no difficulty lasts forever and that every hardship carries hidden wisdom. Faith gives courage to walk forward even when the road seems uncertain, because the believer knows that Allah's guidance never fails. When life tests you, it is not a sign that Allah has abandoned you. It is a sign that He loves you enough to help you grow. Tests are not punishments. They are opportunities for purification and growth. Through pain, Allah softens the heart and teaches patience. Through loss, He reminds us that nothing in this world is permanent. Through failure, He teaches humility and perseverance. Every trial is a message from Allah, calling the believer to return to Him and to rely on Him completely. When you understand that challenges are a form of mercy, you begin to face them with patience instead of panic. The believer learns to smile even in struggle, because they know that Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. This patience becomes a form of worship, a silent proof of faith that shines brightest in times of hardship. Tawakkul, or trust in Allah, is the heart of belief. It means doing your best while leaving the results to Him. It is not laziness or giving up. It is working hard and then accepting whatever outcome Allah decides. Many times we plan something with all our strength only to watch it slip away. In those moments, the believer remembers that perhaps Allah is protecting them from unseen harm or preparing them for something better. When you trust Allah, you stop worrying about the future, because you know that what is written for you will come to you, even if the entire world tries to stop it. This trust brings peace that no amount of wealth or success can ever buy. The believer's heart learns to say, I may not have what I want, but I have what I need, and Allah knows best. In times of struggle, prayer becomes the believer's greatest refuge. It is not just a ritual or a habit. It is a lifeline that connects the soul to its creator. Dua is a moment of surrender when you admit your weakness and seek strength from the one who never tires of listening. Sometimes the answer to your dua comes immediately, and sometimes it is delayed for reasons only Allah knows. The delay itself is a form of mercy, for in waiting you grow in patience, faith, and gratitude. Even when your dua seems unanswered, it is never ignored. Allah either grants it in this life, replaces it with something better, or saves it for you in the hereafter. The believer never gives up praying, because they know that every call made to Allah is heard, every tear is counted, and every moment of sincerity is rewarded. Gratitude is another sign of deep belief. It is easy to thank Allah when life is good, but true faith shows itself when you thank Him during pain and loss. Gratitude turns hardship into hope, because it reminds you that even in difficulty, there is still so much to be thankful for. The ability to breathe, to pray, to feel, and to hope are blessings often forgotten. When you live with gratitude, your heart becomes light and your soul becomes peaceful. You begin to see goodness where others see nothing. Allah promises that if you are grateful, He will increase your blessings. The believer who practices gratitude finds joy even in little things and remains content even when life feels unfair. Knowing that Allah's mercy outweighs every hardship, belief also teaches humility. It reminds us that no matter how powerful, intelligent, or wealthy we become, we are still in need of Allah every single moment. The believer understands that success comes only through His permission, and failure happens only with His wisdom. This humility protects the heart from pride and keeps the soul connected to its Creator. When you realize that everything you have is from Allah, you stop boasting and start thanking. You stop comparing your life to others and begin focusing on improving your relationship with Allah. Humility is the beauty of faith because it brings sincerity and kindness into everything you do. The more humble you become before Allah, the more He elevates you in this world and the next. A believer who carries faith in their heart walks through life with peace, patience, and hope. No matter how dark the night becomes, they know that Allah will bring the dawn. No matter how heavy the heart feels, they know that relief is near. The secret to peace lies not in having a perfect life, but in having perfect trust in Allah. When you truly believe, you stop fearing the future and start living with contentment. Every test becomes a step closer to paradise, and every moment of patience becomes a source of reward. So keep believing, keep praying, and keep trusting. Because when you truly believe, Allah will solve everything. Not always in the way you imagine, but always in the way that is best for you. His plan is flawless, His timing perfect, and His mercy endless.